guys, so today's video is super exciting for me because I just got a new lighting set. As you can see here, my room is nice and bright and it's dark outside. So this is super exciting for me because it means that I'll be able to film more often. What happens a lot of the time is I'm at work all day and by the time I come home it's getting dark and so I physically cannot film anything. So now that I have a lighting set, I can film whatever time of day I want. And hopefully I'll get some more videos out to you guys ASAP. Anyway, the topic for today's video is going to be about Phoenix, my leopard gecko. I got him in the end of September and I updated you guys at the time about some of the issues that were happening. Douglas, my other gecko, has some sight problems and then Phoenix was impacted, and at the time I really wasn't sure if he would survive or not. So I'm very happy to report that as of now, February, Phoenix is still alive and he is doing wonderful. Here he is. I'll show you guys him up close. He is absolutely beautiful and he is doing amazing. So I just wanted to update you guys on his story, everything that he's been through, and everything that has happened to get him to this point of where he is now, because to be honest, he almost did not make it. So anyway, let's get started. This is Phoenix's story from when I got him until now. So in May last year, I decided that I was ready to get some more leopard geckos. I already had Savannah and she was really wonderful, so I wanted to get some more. I spent the majority of the summer building this leopard gecko bookshelf over here, and it's able to house 3 leopard geckos, and so I was going to get 2 more. September rolled around and a reptile expo came near my house and I thought it would be the perfect time to go get my new leopard geckos. So I went and I got Douglas, which by the way there will be a video coming up updating you guys on him, and I also got Phoenix. So at the time I really didn't think there was anything wrong with these geckos. I thought that they were perfectly fine and healthy, and I did pay quite a bit of money for them, definitely more than I did for Savannah, who I bought at a pet store. So I'll insert a photo here that shows you guys of Phoenix when I first got him, and I really didn't realize how thin he was until I actually brought him home. I knew that his tail was thin, and I had read that that wasn't really an issue, that a lot of younger baby geckos just had thin tails and it took some time to get them to put on some weight. So I really wasn't concerned about his tail being thin, but the more I took him out and the more I looked at him, the more I could see how thin he actually was. You could see his ribs, you could see a lot of the bones in his feet and in his legs, and at that point I realized that, you know, he probably is not the healthiest gecko. At some point I was able to find a photo of Phoenix on the website that his breeder had listed him at, and he actually looked healthier in that photo than he did a couple weeks later when I had bought him at this expo, so I was a little bit concerned about that. The next concerning thing that I noticed about Phoenix was that his stomach looked really strange. So normally young geckos will have this little blue dot on their belly and it's some type of organ. I think it might be the gallbladder, and that's a normal thing to see on younger geckos. So Phoenix did have that spot, but he also had some really dark patches and some really light patches on his belly, and it really just looked strange. So a couple weeks went by and Phoenix hadn't eaten whatsoever. I had continued to take photos of what he looked like, and I noticed that there were some changes in what his stomach was looking like and what it was doing. I also noticed that he had these big lumps underneath him, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. At this point, I'm about 2 weeks into owning this gecko, and I happen to notice there's this little weird thing in his tank, and so I take it out and I look and I realize that it's actually paper. And come to find out, this paper was actually used in the container that he was held in at the Reptile Expo. The majority of breeders use complete paper towels, and for whatever reason this breeder had decided to use shredded paper instead of full paper towel. So at this point the light bulb went off and I realized that Phoenix was impacted. He had been eating this paper that the breeder had in his cup, and who knows how much of it he had eaten, who knows how long he had been on that paper. Was it just at the Reptile Expo, or did the breeder keep him on this substrate all the time? So I started researching everything that I could on Impaction, and I ended up giving him warm baths almost every day, not all the time because I didn't want the humidity to give him a respiratory infection, but I gave him quite a few warm baths for 10, 15 minutes, and then I took a Q-tip and rubbed it on his stomach to kind of massage it and hopefully move things along. The idea was that I was trying to get this paper to pass through. And I also noticed at this point that he had these big lumps under his stomach, and you could tell they were hard and not really moving well. I also ended up feeding him olive oil. I used a little syringe to get him to lick it and squirt it down his mouth. So I forget exactly how long it was, but it was weeks of giving him baths and massages, and he still wasn't eating. He was still losing weight. Nothing was really happening. He just looked so weak. He got to a point where he really couldn't even stand up in his tank. He was just laying there helplessly, not able to move. And I felt so bad for him, but there was nothing I could do. And then one night, it all changed because I came home and Phoenix was in his warm hide, and I wasn't quite sure what had happened because he was just kind of laying there and there was blood all around him. Not a lot of blood, but enough that it was concerning, not normal whatsoever, and I wasn't sure what had happened. I took him out, I gave him his bath like normal, and I noticed that his stomach was super duper flat, and it was very dark underneath, almost like he had internal bleeding. So I went back and I looked at his tank, I moved everything around, and I found this huge clump of paper. I mean, it was the size of his body. I could not believe that this big chunk had come out of him. This is a photo of Phoenix next to the chunk of paper that came out of him at the time, and you can see it is almost as big as his body. And after that, he had a complete turnaround. He started eating the next day. It only took maybe 2 days before his energy was up and he could walk around. He was much more active. His personality started to come out. And since then, he has been doing amazing. So when I bought him, I believe he was 12 grams. By the time he was at his worst, I think he was 9 grams. And he's currently weighing in about 27 grams. He's also gotten significantly longer, and his color has changed quite a bit since I got him. Here is a nice before and after picture of his first day until now. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure that you like. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel to see more videos like this one. A video will be coming out shortly about Douglas and some of the stuff that's been going on with him. I am super happy that this is the update I had to give you guys. Phoenix is doing wonderful. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!